Those of you who are fans of the true crime genre are well aware of the way modern society deals with crime. If you did the crime, you'll do the time, as the old adage goes. That is, if the crime is deemed worthy enough of prison sentence in the first place, and the simple monetary fee no longer serves as a sufficient deterrent. But what happens when a person has served one or more sentences in prison, and yet he still refuses to be reformed and to be reintegrated to society, and still continues to make waves? In some countries, the ultimate sanction of the death penalty is thus reserved for such especially grim cases. Today, I would like to tell you about one such case, a true crime case that you likely haven't heard before. It happened a while ago, in a small, quiet European country called Lithuania. Ladies and gentlemen, gather round as we dive into the riveting tale about a person whose name is Vytautas Meškauskas, a man whose rap sheet reads not as your typical true crime case file, but more like a Shakespearean tragedy with a dash of film noir. Picture this, a 46-year-old maverick with not 7, but 7 times 7 convictions under his belt, reaching a point in his life where even the most fortified and forgiving prison walls can't rein in his penchant for the crime. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find the info on the public web as to what exactly those previous 49 convictions were for. But considering the outcome of the case in particular that I wish to cover in this video, and the huge number of previous cases, I'd say that these convictions were most likely belonging to light-medium hooliganism category. Now let's rewind the clock to the late 90s. At the time, in Kaunas, the second largest city in Lithuania, Mr. Meškauskas was making headlines that would make your grandmother gasp. Mr. Meškauskas, not one to shy away from a life of intrigue, openly admitted to rustling cattle after a stint in the correctional facilities of March 1992, settling in Jonava, a small town near the city of Kaunas. He joined forces with a mysterious man named Leonardas S., a partner in crime with a taste for the bovine underworld. Together, both men orchestrated the bovine heist of the century, snatching not 1, not 2, not 10, but 37 cattle from the unsuspecting farms nearby. And you'd best believe it that a brief hiatus in the cozy confines of prison in 1993 did little to deter our protagonist. No, sir. Mr. Meškauskas, like a moth to the flame of criminality, resumed his felonious exploits upon release, without even letting the bedding in his cell to grow cold. But the real game changer came in the year 1996, when he decided to escalate things up a notch. A brutal double murder of 2 elderly souls, marking a turning point in his shadowy career. The plot thickens. Eager to diversify his criminal portfolio, Mr. Meškauskas turned to his accomplice, the aforementioned Leonardas S., for some strategic advice, a collaboration that would make Bonnie and Clyde blush. Now imagine this: affluent properties, dark secrets, in the quaint village named Meshkoni. The stage was set for a truly macabre performance. Our man of the hour, Mr. Meshkauskas, always with a flair for the dramatic, concocted a devious plan, this time involving not bovine livestock, but rather a stealing of a horse-drawn cart. I mean, a man's gotta move up in the world somehow, doesn't he? Anyway, little did the unsuspecting villagers knew that behind the friendly facade lurked a criminal mastermind. Unsecured doors became a gateway to chaos as Meshkauskas broke into the stranger's house and confronted an 86-year-old owner of the horse cart in question. In the kitchen, a showdown worthy of Hitchcock's Envy played out, during which Mr. Meshkauskas, facing resistance, unleashed a torrent of violence on the elderly gentleman. Meanwhile, the sister, a 71-year-old damsel in distress, had her own rendezvous with fate. Money was demanded, secrets were spilled, and in a chilling crescendo, Meshkauskas silenced her forever. Now you die. But our anti-hero wasn't done. No, he had a grand finale in mind. After snagging a couple of gold rings and a few banknotes to make sure he didn't leave empty-handed, Mr. Meshkauskas doused the furniture with gasoline, setting the stage quite literally on fire. He even threw in a touch of showmanship by turning on the TV and the clothing iron, hoping to craft the illusion of an accidental blaze. As the smoke settled, Meshkauskas, perhaps exhausted from all the theatrics, sauntered off to Leonardo's abode, where both proceeded to drink throughout the night and celebrate their recent criminal antics. And thus, a seasoned criminal now had the blood of two elderly victims on his hands. Not long after, Mr. Meshkauskas was caught. Obviously, I mean, if we're serious, the guy was hardly a criminal mastermind, and it didn't take a Sherlock Holmes to figure out what happened. In the end, even though he was sentenced to death, Mr. Meshkauskas' punishment was later commuted to life. Probably because the laws were changed since Lithuania was going to become a part of European Union. And among other things, that meant abolishing the death penalty. I personally am on the fence about the issue of the death penalty. Having delved into this subject in the past, researching it for an unhealthy amount of time, I have realized that my opinion about it, if I support it or not, varies wildly based on my general mood on the particular day. But I do agree that people who are a danger to society should be apprehended, locked up, and treated accordingly to the laws of their respective land. So, what did you guys think of this chilling true crime story? Please write down your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching or listening to my video, and I'll see you on the next one.